StraighTAllDay.com.
Tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy, and we call it Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is where entrepreneurs waste time and why you are wasting time in those areas. And then we're going to break down how to stop wasting time in these areas. So I'm going to help explain to you some things that maybe you have not considered or have not fully absorbed, so you can stop wasting time in these areas and actually start using your time more effectively. I won't even call it wisely, because wise is relative. Let's call it effectively, because effective is something that we can measure. So before we get into that though, let me tell everybody I have a daily motivation text that I send out free of charge every morning to everybody in my text community. This message is guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day. So if you would like to receive this message, here's the only thing you need to do. Text me right now, my number, which is 305-384-6894. And every morning when that daily motivation message goes out, because you are a member of my text community, that's the only reason, you're going to be getting this daily motivation text for free every single day. Again, you just got to text me right now. That number is down below in the description. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That is the place where you get to work with me directly. That's the place where you can be coached by me. That's the place where you get access to my best frameworks and my best coaching and my best insights. The most important thing you're going to get is the insights that you get directly from working and communicating with me, conversing with me. You get that all at workonyourgameuniversity.com, and in those areas, things like mindset, strategy, systems, accountability, execution, people skills, creating content, selling yourself. How are you using your time? How do you make the most of your time? How do you make sure you're reaching the right people? How do you sell yourself to other people? How do you sell yourself to an individual? How do you sell yourself to an audience? All of those things, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Now let's get into the topic today, which is where entrepreneurs waste time. One place you are all wasting time. If you are not a member of Work on Your Game University, you're wasting time by not being a member. All right, so that's point number 0. That's not one of my points here today. That's point number 0. But one big difference between being an entrepreneur and being an employee is that as an entrepreneur, you are in complete control of your time and how you use it. You have full say over how your time gets used. And what happens with entrepreneurs, and I notice this because I talk to, coach, and converse with a lot of entrepreneurs every day, is that many entrepreneurs waste a whole lot of time doing a whole bunch of nonsense and bullshit. Today, I'm going to point out some of that nonsense and bullshit. Not all of it. This is not an all-inclusive list, but I'm going to point out a good amount of it, the most egregious nonsense and bullshit, and hopefully help you adjust so you can stop doing these things that are costing you your most valuable resource, which is, again, your time. The topic, once again, today is where entrepreneurs waste time and why. Number one place that entrepreneurs waste time is on protection. What does this mean? Protection. This is protection in the form of you going and filing documentation, random, erroneous paperwork, legalities, and other nonsense that people like to do when you call yourself starting a business. So you need to go get some documentation. You need to file these things with the local and federal government. You need to go get yourself a lawyer. You need to get all these things documented and on paper to quote unquote start your business. These things have nothing to do with the actual conducting of business. Let me take a sip of water while that one sinks in, because this one's going to hit close to home for a few of you. Actually, it already has hit close to home just for the fact that I said it. This documentation, these legal things that you are doing to make sure that you are legally, quote unquote, on the up and up, that you have your paperwork in place, you got your whatever paperwork you're filing to quote unquote start your business and make sure your business is, again, quote unquote, official. All right, this is a waste of your time if you are not actually conducting any business yet. Even if you are conducting business, you don't need to be doing these things, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Understand, you do not need an employer identification number, also known as an EIN. You do not need an LLC. You do not need a trademark if you do not have paying customers and conversely, no money coming into your business. Thusly, no money coming into your business, more correctly. You do not need to send, if you're writing a book, you do not need to send the manuscript of your book to Washington, D.C., to the copywriting clearinghouse to get copyright protection for a book that has never been sold and nobody has bought before. The chances of anybody stealing your idea or stealing your intellectual property or suing your pre-revenue business for money that you have not even made yet, or the IRS coming after you because you are not quote unquote official, you're not on paper, or your state or local government coming after you because you're making money but you have not officially registered your business. The chances of any of these things happening, folks, are less than the chances of you being struck by lightning twice in the same day. All right, any of you ever been struck by lightning? Okay, so imagine that happening twice in the same day. That's the same chance the IRS is going to come after you because you don't have an employer identification number, but you made $20,000 in the last 6 months from your business that you do on the side of your full-time job. This is a waste of time. This is nonsense and bullshit that a lot of entrepreneurs like to indulge in. And the reason entrepreneurs indulge in this is because it feels like you are doing something. And you know what? You're right. You are doing something, but you're doing something that is not effective. You're doing something that is productive but not effective. What are you producing? You're producing, hey, I got all this paperwork. Look at all this official documentation that I have for my business. You are correct. You did produce that paperwork, but is it effective? Now, how do we know what's effective or not? Effective is based on the outcome. And what is the outcome for an entrepreneur? This is not my opinion. The number one outcome that an entrepreneur needs to be producing is money into the business. Getting an EIN, LLC, whatever legal documentation you're getting, hiring an accountant and a lawyer, and signing up for QuickBooks. So you have a way of making sure your accounting is in place and your bookkeeping software. None of that shit makes you any money. It actually costs you money directly because you pay for it, and it costs you money indirectly because the time and energy and attention you spend doing it, you're not spending on the main thing you should be doing, which is going out and getting money. So these are wastes of time for you entrepreneurs. So any of you entrepreneurs who has already done this, all right, don't be mad at me. I'm just pointing out the truth here. You should actually be thanking me. And any entrepreneurs who are thinking about doing any of this bullshit, don't do it. Instead, take that same time, that same energy you were going to put into this nonsense and spend it on talking to some customers or some prospects who could become customers. That's what you actually need to be doing. Nobody's going to steal your idea. I talk to so many entrepreneurs who insist that they get some kind of legal protection, quote unquote, for their idea that has not made them a single red cent, because they don't want anybody to steal their idea and go take it and go make $1 billion with it, because this idea is so great. I just have to protect it before I put it out there to the world, because somebody might steal it and go make money off it. Now, the chances of that happening are chances of you getting struck by lightning, let's just call it 1.5 times in the same day. All right, that's probably not going to happen, folks. It's not going to happen. And by the way, any of you who's ever sold anything on the internet, let me let you in on a secret. There are people over in China, of which the United States and any documentation you can get here, over which the United States has zero jurisdiction, who have found your stuff, downloaded it, copied it exactly as it is, and they're selling it in China and making money off it right now. If you have ever sold anything online, people are stealing your shit and selling it in China right now and making money off it. And ain't a damn thing you can ever do about it, because the legal protection that you got here in the United States means shit to the people in China. And you ain't gonna go over there and do nothing about it. So all these things that you call yourself protecting is not the Americans you even need to be worried about. There's a lot more people over there in China. There's 3 or 4 times more people in China than there are in America. They are stealing anything that's online every single day and copying it and using it. My YouTube basketball videos that I've been putting out since 2005. I put out YouTube basketball videos on YouTube for 10 years, 2005 to 2015. I know for a fact, because when I was actively putting basketball videos on YouTube, I would get messages from people who lived in China, and they would tell me, Dre, a lot of people in China over here watch your videos, and y'all have to understand that the social media apps we have here in the United States are banned in China. They have their own apps. So there's a Chinese version of YouTube, but it's not YouTube. There's a Chinese Google, Facebook, all that stuff. They have their own apps. And I went on one of these apps because someone sent me a link, and they sent me, hey, here's the app, but it's all in Chinese. But I can find, my name is in all my videos, so I can look up my name and I can see the videos. I would say, all right, over here in the United States, just the videos that I've had viewed, I've probably been viewed, somewhere between 80 and 100 million times in the United States just with my content. In China, you can multiply that by 5, maybe even 10. And this is all pirated stuff. So understand there's no ad revenue from any of these videos that have been downloaded, pirated, and basically stolen by some people in China. And they're disseminating my stuff through China, and they're getting, I don't know what they're getting. I don't know if they have ad revenue or anything, but I'm not making anything off of that stuff. The training programs that I made for basketball players, guaranteed there are people in China selling that stuff and passing it around every single day with impunity. And ain't a damn thing I can or intend to do about it. Because this is just how it is. This is just the game, folks. You put things on the internet, people are going to steal it. This is just how it works. So you going and trying to protect this stuff doesn't matter. And by the way, even if somebody in America stole your shit, what you going to do? You going to call a lawyer? You going to hire a lawyer and sue them? Any of you has ever tried to sue anybody or been sued, you understand the shit that the legal process is here in the United States. No offense to the lawyers who are listening to this, but you all agree that the legal process in the United States is shit. It's more about money and resources than it is about anything actually being legally just or unjust. And the money that you will spend suing somebody over whatever they allegedly stole from you, unless we're talking in the millions of dollars, is not even worth it, because you'll spend more money on the legal proceedings than you will actually win in court. Combined with your time, it's not even worth it. So any of you who's been doing this, you are wasting your time. All right, have I made a strong enough case for explaining this to you yet? Good. So the people who are telling you on a, let me back up. People do these things on a practical level because you get told by somebody who should be telling you better that these are things you need to do to get started in business. There are people out there who I respect in business. I'm not going to say their names. There are people out there who I respect, who will go and tell you that you actually need to do these things to get started in business. You need to go get an EIN and LLC and legal paperwork, et cetera, to get started in business. Now, why are they telling you this? They tell you this because they are in some way, shape, or form making money off the fact that you're going and doing these things. Either they're the one charging you to help you do it, or they're connecting you to someone who's helping you do it. So if someone's a trademark attorney and they're telling you, hey, you got to trademark everything before you start in business, well, they have a vested interest in you getting a trademark. Does it actually make business sense for you? 99% of the time, it does not. I just told you why it doesn't make sense for you. But if someone's a trademark attorney, well, they dedicate their whole life to becoming a trademark attorney, so they need to be relevant. So of course they're going to tell you need to get a trademark. Everybody follow what I'm saying here? See, I have no vested interest in you doing this or not doing it. My vested interest is in giving you the game and making sure that you're doing something that actually helps you perform and get results. That's my vested interest. That's my only affiliation here. By you not getting business paperwork doesn't make me money. You getting business paperwork does not make me money. So I'm an impartial party here to the situation of what you end up actually doing. Everybody understand what I'm saying here? I want to make sure you understand that, so you don't think I'm trying to convince you of something for any personal gain of mine. I don't gain anything whether you do it or not. I'm just trying to help you from wasting your damn time and then doing something that actually does make you money, like going and talking to customers and prospects who can become customers so that you can become a success story or listen to the Work on Your Game Masterclass, and that I have a vested interest in. Now you go do some bullshit, now you don't become a success story, now I can't use the fact that you are a listener as social proof that what I'm giving you is valuable. That's why I'm giving you this, so you can stop doing the bullshit, you can start doing the stuff that actually works. So there are people who will charge you money to help you get an EIN or an LLC or some legal paperwork, and they're getting paid while you are wasting time spinning your wheels on things that have nothing to do with making money. Other reason why people do this is because it makes you feel like, it allows you to feel like that you're actually doing something. All right, I just went and got my legal paperwork. I talk to so many entrepreneurs. You would think this is a rare thing. Those of you who are established in business and you may be chuckling and laughing at these points that I'm making, you'd be surprised. I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and many times I hear people say this. Well, I got to go get my EIN, or I got to get my LLC, or I got to go meet with my accountant, or I got to go meet with my attorney because I'm getting my business paperwork done. I'm like, wait a minute, have you sold anything yet? Have you made any money yet? What the hell are you meeting with? What the hell do you got an attorney for? What are you going to do? You going to sue somebody? Are you really going to go to court with what money? How are you going to pay the attorney? All right, you going to sue someone over your violating your trademark or your LLC? You got LLC paperwork. What are you going to do with that? What really are you going to do? You got an EIN? You going to hire some employees? You going to hire staff with what money? You ain't making no money yet. What are you doing these things for? These don't make any sense, do they? Again, you don't have to even be familiar with these terms. You just listening to what I've said over the last 15 minutes. Tell me if any of this makes any sense. Just on a logical, practical level. You don't even have to be an entrepreneur. Does this make sense? There's a difference between being productive and being effective, folks. You need to know the difference. All right, just because something is productive does not make it effective. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is where entrepreneurs waste time. Number 2, getting official. So this goes right along the lines of what we talked about in point number 1. So this includes the EINs and LLCs. This also includes you needing, quote unquote, a website, a logo, a brand palette of colors, your brand colors, whatever the hell that means, securing all your social media handles on every social media app, and all the other nonsense bullshit that entrepreneurs waste time on so that you can feel productive, yet you are being 0% effective. So you notice there's a lot of getting ready to do business that a lot of entrepreneurs waste time on. And some of you who are listening to this right now, yes, I'm talking about you. Yes, I'm talking about you. But don't feel bad, because it's not just you personally. You ain't the only one. There's a whole bunch of yous running around doing the same nonsense that is not making you money, yet you have put your time and effort into acquiring these things that are doing nothing for your business. Your number one duty always as a business owner is to produce money. That is your number one duty as an entrepreneur. It's the first thing you should be thinking about every single day. How do I produce money? I told you in an episode right here on this show where I talked about money increasing principles. Let me give you that episode just in case any of you wants to go back into the archives and listen to this stuff so that you understand how these things work. This is episode number... Well, I talked about money increasing myths in episodes 2569, 2570, and 2571. Money increasing principles in episode 2320. One of the first principles to increasing your revenue in anything you do in life is to watch the money. That's what you need to be doing, watching the money. When I wake up in the morning, I write my morning notes. When I pick up my phone, I write my morning notes. That's just how I slept, notes about how I slept, a couple other things that I put in there that are all laid out in the mental workbook, by the way, if you want to know what exactly goes into my morning notes and what should be going in your morning notes. As soon as I start going to apps, the first thing I open is the Calm app, which is the meditation app. I open that in the morning. First 30-ish minutes of my day has that app on. I'm not listening to anything like that. Then I'm opening stats to see how this show did the previous day. So I want to see what the stats were for the Work on Your Game Masterclass. Then I'm looking at the money. I'm looking at the sales from the previous day. I'm looking at bank accounts. I'm looking at any account that money is being transacted through. That's what I'm looking at. Like the first 5 or 6 apps I open on my phone after those things that I just told you, after the daily tracking and the Calm app and the stats for this show, the next 6 or 7 apps I open are all things that have to do with the money. Why? Because I'm an entrepreneur. My number one duty is to watch the money. That's why I open it. That's why I open those apps. I'm not looking at my EIN or LLC to make sure it's still there. All right, those don't matter. All right, your number one duty is producing money. There's no money coming into your business, you're not doing business. I don't know what you're doing, but it ain't business. If you have everything official, you have all this paperwork, all these documents, the government, LLC, logo, website, social media handles, you hung up your shingle outside of your shop, but there's no money coming in, again, you are not doing business. Business is the exchange of money. If you have none of those things, you have no logo, no EIN, no LLC, no website, but you have money coming in, you're doing more business than somebody who has all of those things. I'll give you an example. Here in Miami, there's a lot of dog parents down here in Miami, at least in the neighborhood that I live in. There's a whole lot of dog parents. What's a dog parent? That's a person who doesn't have actual human kids, but they have dogs. There's a whole lot of people with dogs but no kids. So when I'm walking around with my child, people see me in the elevator all the time, and they'll say, "Hey, your kid's getting so big, kid's so cute. How old is he? Et cetera, et cetera." There's some people who still mistake my son for a daughter. They're like, "Is that a boy or a girl?" I'm looking at my son like, how the hell could you mistake him for a girl? He doesn't look anything like a female. But anyway, and I'll ask them, usually if they ask me a question about my child, I ask them a question about their kids. I say, do you have kids? And there's a lot of people who say no, but a lot of them have dogs. So I see them on the elevator all the time because everybody's always up and down the elevator. And there's a woman who she doesn't live in my building, but she's always in and out of the building because she's a dog walker. She has a dog walking business. And she gets access to people's apartments, and she gets their dogs, because these are people who are, they're out at work all day, or maybe they travel or whatever. She gets their dogs and she walks these people's dogs for them because they're not home enough to be walking their dogs or at least keeping the dogs company. This woman, I don't know if she has a website. She probably does all her business through something like Instagram or Facebook. I would bet. I just by her, I've talked to her. I would bet she does most of her business through Instagram or Facebook, or just simply word of mouth. I doubt she has a website. She doesn't need a website. She probably takes all her payments just straight through like Cash App or Zelle or Apple Pay or something like that. And that's what she does. She's always walking dogs. I see her all the time. She doesn't even live in my building, but we like know each other by face because she's always in the building and she sees me all the time in the building. I don't even have a dog, but I know her because I see her all the time. I'm bringing her up to say this. She's doing more business than some of you with your EINs, LLCs, websites, and logos and no customers. She got customers. I know she has customers because I see her going and getting the dogs and walking them. A drug dealer who's standing on a corner somewhere in the slums selling $20 bags of weed and cocaine is doing more business than you are with your LLCs and EIN numbers, and I guarantee you they ain't got no website. A kid with a lemonade stand selling it for $1 is doing more business than you with your EIN and your logo and your brand colors. All right, nobody gives a damn about any of that shit. Your business is bringing in the money. Everybody with me? Good. Point number 3. Today's topic once again is where entrepreneurs waste time. Number 3, doing chores, aka maintenance work, doing chores. Any of you who's a parent and you got a kid who's old enough to, and able-bodied enough to move around on their own, so let's say somewhere between the ages of 8 and 16, and all of us have been that, and if you had parents who were about that, then you had to do chores, right? And what are chores? Chores are usually just random maintenance things you had to do around the house. Wash the dishes, dusting off furniture, vacuuming floors, wash the car maybe, taking out the trash. Chores. As an entrepreneur, there are chores that you may have to do, and especially if you're running a business and you're the only person, there are chores that you will have to do. This is what you would label chores, the routine administrative work that must be done in a business. I'm not saying don't do it, and if you're the only person, you have to do it, but some of you entrepreneurs are spending way too much time on maintenance work, doing chores, i.e. as a way to hide from doing the real work that you actually need to be doing. Let me give you some examples of some ways that entrepreneurs hide by doing chores instead of actually doing real work. Any of you right now, let's just say in the last 24 hours, you either did this in the last 24 hours, you're doing it today, or you plan on doing it the next 24 hours. So let's just say a 72-hour span, including today. If you are updating your website, you're doing chores. That's some bullshit. Stop updating your website. Nobody gives a damn about how updated your website is. Go get some customers. Making a new logo is some bullshit maintenance work. Combing through useless emails that have nothing to do with your actual business, conducting a business, is maintenance work. Finding the right filter for a picture to post to Instagram is maintenance work. I'm not saying don't use filters. If you want to use a filter, use a filter. Pick a filter and post a damn picture. All right, it shouldn't take you more than 30 seconds. Deciding on the right font to use as the headline on your website is maintenance work. It's a chore. It's bullshit. That is not making you money. Again, it's not that this stuff may not need to be done or you don't want to do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying it doesn't need to be done by you, number 1. It does not need to be done right now, number 2. And if it's not making you money, it doesn't really matter. Nobody ever was about to buy something from you and said, well, this person's website's not updated, so I'm not going to buy anything. As long as they could make a purchase on the website, they'll make a purchase if they want to make a purchase. Then you ever bought something on a website that wasn't that updated, quote unquote, of a website, but you bought it anyway because you wanted the product? Okay, of course. Updating your website doesn't do anything for any of your customers. It does something for you. It feeds your ego and makes you feel like you did something that day. If updating your website is something that you crossed off on a list of to-do things that you did in a day, I'm calling bullshit on you, unless the only exception being you are a graphic designer or a web designer. If you're not a graphic designer or a web designer, updating a website is not a thing that you did that day. It does not count. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Look at my website. All right, at workonyourgameuniversity.com. You know how long it took me to put that together? Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Go look at it. Go look at it and see for yourself. How long you think it took me to put that together? All right, very little time. Less than the time it takes me to record this episode of this particular episode of this masterclass. Look at the length of this episode. It took me less time than that to put together what you see at workonyourgameuniversity.com right now. Workonyourgameuniversity.com creates money. I'm not in the business of graphic design. I'm not in the web design business, as you can see. I'm in the generate money business. And if you call yourself an entrepreneur, you're in that same business too. You need to start acting like it. You need to start behaving like, don't act, actually do it. Nobody's buying your product because of any of these maintenance things that you feed your ego with. And that's how you know that they don't matter. Every action you take as an entrepreneur should be run through the filter of, is this making me money? And remember that you're not the customer, by the way. So what you think matters to the customer is not what matters to the customer, because you're not the customer. Your job is to think. Your job is to put yourself in the shoes of the buyer, not your shoes. You're not the buyer, because you wouldn't buy your stuff because you already know everything that you're selling. So what you need to buy it for, you don't. So your opinion doesn't matter that much. Yes, you heard me correctly. Your opinion does not matter that much. Main thing you need to focus on is bringing in the money. All right, that's not Dre's opinion. This is just the definition of what business is. So with that said, let's recap today's class, which is where entrepreneurs waste time and why. Number one, protection. Documentation, paperwork, legalities, lawyers, accountants, bookkeeping. You're doing all that before you even have a customer. That makes no sense. You don't need to copyright your book. Nobody's going to steal it. Nobody has ever even heard of your book. They ain't even heard of you. Nobody's going to steal anything from you. So don't worry about any of these things. These are wastes of time. They are productive. They are not effective. Number two, getting official. This includes EINs, LLCs, websites, logos, brand colors, social media handles. Again, they feel productive, but they are 0% effective. Your number one duty as a business owner is to bring in money. The dog walker who lives in my neighborhood probably doesn't even have a website or a logo or brand colors or an EIN or an LLC. She doesn't need any of that shit. You know what she needs? Paying customers. That's the same thing you need. All right, the drug dealer who sells weed in your neighborhood is doing more business than you are if they actually have customers and you don't. Okay, they're a weed salesperson. What are you selling? All right, when's the last time you sold one? Point number three, chores and maintenance work. This is the routine administrative work that must be done in a business. And if you're the only person, you must do this at some point, but do not hide behind maintenance work. Many entrepreneurs hide behind doing maintenance. Oh, I got to update my website. No, you don't. I got to get a new logo. No, you don't. I got to, what's some other bullshit some of you do? Combing through useless emails. No, you don't. I got to pick the right filter. No, you don't. All right, what are you doing right now? You scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or Twitter? All right, you're wasting time. You are hiding behind those things so you don't have to do actual real work. This right here is why many of you say, I don't have time to be productive or effective. I don't feel like I'm getting as much done as I could be doing, because you are hiding behind the bullshit and you don't even realize that you're doing it because it's become so habitual because you do it so often. That's why I'm pointing it out here today. So if I can help you with this stuff, and by the way, I can, here's what you do. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can see my amazing graphic design skills and web design skills that I did not need in order to put that site together. Why? Because that site produces money, and I'm in the business of producing money. If you would like to get in that business, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, and you can work directly with me, and I will show you, I will coach you on how to get into the business of making money, and not only how to get into it, how to stay in it. If that sounds like what you want, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Secondly, text me. Let me know you want to get that daily motivation that I send out every single day for free. My number is 305-384-6894. Number and that link are down below in the show notes. You also text me and let me know what was the most ear-catching thing, since you're listening to this, that you heard in today's masterclass. Did I say something that really hit home with you and you're like, damn, Dre's talking about me when he said that right there? I'm talking about a bunch of people. You're not the only one. So if you think I'm talking about just you, you're not. I'm not just talking about you. There are 1,000 entrepreneurs out there doing the same bullshit that you may be doing. The good news is I just pointed the bullshit out to you, which means now you're responsible for changing it. Work on your game. Dre all day.